we average about 150 shows a year,
Wow.
and somehow we're still at that pace. We take our drugs after the show now instead of before. To sleep, you know.
To sleep. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit different, but.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bar podcast. I'm your host, Denisa Tova. Today's guests really need no introduction. David and Howard Bellamy, the Bellamy Brothers, icons in American music with a career spanning, 50 years. Unbelievable. They've helped shape the future of country music for sure. But today, I really am looking forward to getting to know what's behind the fame. And so let's dive right in. David and Howard, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Denisa. Good to be here with you.
Yeah, no, this is great. Great energy. We were just, we chatted just for a couple of seconds. And I was asking you, my gosh, how long have you've done this a few times. But I'm always interested in the beginning. So tell me your story, not the official bio. You know, who were you before all the fame?
Well, we were basically dirt farmer kids. We're still the Bellamy Brothers. Yeah. Always been. But we grew up on a little farm in Central Florida, which is where we are now. This is where we still live, actually.
Wow.
And you know, we both grew up. Our dad taught us to play music, and we worked cattle, and he was picked oranges, and farmed, and that's how we kind of grew up, you know. And we were kind of, and then the '60s came along. We kind of turned into hippies, and we were kind of hippie cowboys.
Kind of.
Got into music, started playing music and writing some music, and I wrote a song that Jim Stafford recorded. A producer in Florida heard it and went on to sell 3 million records. A song called "Spiders and Snakes" in the early '70s, and it kind of got our foot in the door. And we moved from Darby, Florida, to Hollywood, and that's where we ran into Neil Diamond's band and started cutting tracks with him. Neil was on hiatus, and we all had sort of the same habits, and so we became buddies with a lot of those guys. And one day their drummer, Dennis St. John, said, "Hey, I wrote this song that sounds like something you guys would record." So he brought the demo over, and it was "Let Your Love Flow." And so fast forward a few months, and it became #1 just pretty much in the whole world. So
wow,
that's the short story part of it.
That's in a nutshell.
Yeah. So that you know, things sort of took off from there, and we've been doing this 50 years, coming up on 50 years here in a few months.
And how does it feel now, today?
Well, how do we feel? How does it feel?
Well, you know, doing it for so long and still performing, what is that like?
Well, we average about 150 shows a year.
Wow.
And somehow we're still at that pace. We take our drugs after the show now instead of before. To sleep, you know.
To sleep. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit different, but well, we've been quite fortunate. You know, you have to learn how to pace yourself to survive, you know, that long. And had we gone full tilt like we used to, we probably wouldn't still be around. But you know, we've been pretty fortunate with health and that sort of thing. So I guess we'll just go on until we can't.
So what do you do to, I guess, to regain I guess we may call it the balance when what is your idea of a downtime, if even a small one, when you're not working?
Yeah, well, we come right here to the ranch. Come and do Zoom calls with pretty blonde women. Well, you know, we swim. We go look at the cows. A lot of nature around here. This is where we've always come to heal. Yeah, this is our old home place. You know, and you know, our cattle are here. Our recording studio's here. You know, we can walk out into our front yard and be in our recording studio. So it's
We don't take vacations because we stay on a vacation basically, and we've toured in 72 countries through the years, so we get to travel a lot. So when we get off, we like to stay pretty stationary.
Wow, that's, was there? I mean, the life goes up and down, obviously, and you've been at it for so long as brothers, bandmates. Was there ever a moment when you seriously thought about just walking away from all of it and maybe even each other?
Last weekend when the bus broke down, I was ready to quit.
For the first time? I like that.
No, it's always been up and down. I mean, the first couple of years after we had a big worldwide hit, I think we probably came close to killing ourselves. Because I didn't sleep for a couple of years. We were going. We'd be in Germany somewhere, and they'd call and say, "Hey, you got to be in Japan next." So we'd say, "Yeah, sure. Let's book us a ticket." We jump on the flight and go. So we kind of live like, but then you kind of, sort of get into like the rhythm of it, because you could literally kill yourself. People have actually died of doing of the rock and roll life. But you kind of get into the rhythm of it, and we became more interested in taking care of ourselves too. I think that helped a lot. So
thank God for gummies these days.
Yeah,
vitamins, right?
Right,
Exactly.
Right.
Well, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I was both the international travel and just sort of enjoying the nature. I was born in Prague in Czech Republic, and
beautiful city.
Yeah, right.
Oh, great.
The Wenceslas Square, right?
Yes.
The big
Exactly.
I love Prague's old town. That's so cool.
We went there when it was under Soviet rule.
A lot has changed. Yeah. Yeah, that was I remember that my mom worked. She remembers 1968. She was like a chord, what would you call it? Maybe a reporter. But anyway, she worked at the Old Town Square, and she remembered hearing like this rumbling noise, and she looks outside of her window, and the Soviet tanks were rolling in.
Oh, wow.
On the cobblestones.
Right.
Yeah, that was
That
crazy.
must have been incredible.
I can only imagine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. And actually, before I came to the States, I came to the States on my own when I was a young girl. But before I came in, I witnessed the Velvet Revolution, where we got rid of communism. So it was an interesting transition. So that's, I am just in awe that you're sharing yourselves essentially with your fans. And I can only imagine you have so much following, and that are you active on social media?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, you have to be, when social media first came out, we were like, oh, that's not going to, that's not going to amount to anything. But now, it's just, millions of people. So you have to be active in it. And we have a reality show we do as well called the Honky Tonk Ranch, and we also have a medical marijuana company. So it's a lot of stuff through social media, and but you were talking about the fall of communism. Howard and I were actually the first band to play in the former East when the wall came down. We were there when the Russian soldiers were not even able to make their way back home because they kind of left them stranded, and a bunch of them showed up at our show in Erfurt, East Germany. Yeah, you still have one of their hats, though.
Yeah, I have one of
We traded them stuff.
Yeah.
That's, oh my gosh, that's
amazing time.
Yeah, no, seriously, crazy times. And you know what? I love how much you traveled. It's so different being a first generation immigrant, having a conversation with somebody who's traveled so much and sort of has that perspective and experience, as opposed to someone who, just kind of been here. But and I spent probably almost 2 decades in Colorado. So talking about, one with nature and a different lifestyle than New York.
Where'd you live in Colorado?
In Denver and Colorado Springs.
Yeah. We still play both of those markets quite a bit, actually.
Have you played at Red Rocks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Many. It's been a long time, but we've played. There's not many venues we've missed over the years.
You've covered it all.
I mean, we've toured, because our first hit crossed over. I mean, it was a worldwide pop hit. So we were touring with the Beach Boys and Loggins and Messina and people like that. And then when a lot of our country records started to break, we started touring with people like Merle Haggard, and Willie and Waylon and all those guys. So we've pretty much we've done TV shows in Europe with ABBA, and come home and played a gig with Jerry Reed in Mississippi somewhere.
Wow.
So we've run the gamut musically.
Well, you've been meeting people all over the world. I'm curious, what do you have a pet peeve? What are some of the things that trigger you?
Air travel.
Air travel.
Traveling's got, I mean, it's still fun to go play shows, but the travel's got to be really bad nowadays, but not much you can do about it.
No. What about people?
Yeah. I don't like hypocrites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hypocrisy in itself is a big rub for me.
But I don't think we let people worry us that bad. I mean, we see so many types of people,
If you look for normal people in this business, you will keep looking forever because they aren't it.
It can be.
Everybody you deal with, the promoters, whoever, and music business, it's just wackos everywhere. You just have to sort your way through it,
So your show, essentially, where you're sharing your life, with the rest of the world, Honky Tonk Ranch, what made you want to, turn the cameras on and share that side of you?
Well, we had several people that kept coming to us talking about doing a reality show, because they would come by the ranch, because we live I don't know, I guess it's an interesting kind of existence out here. It's not like a lot of people come here and they think they're going to find a couple of mansions, but we still, like this place, this office we're in here, this is our mother's old house. We were raised in this house. I was born in that back bedroom over there.
Wow.
And so we still have the structures here, and we live here, and we have the studio in the yard, and the cows are right outside. Sometimes we have to move the cattle to the other pasture because they'll start mooing while we're recording. You can hear them on the microphone. And so, one person and another said, "Hey, you guys should do a reality show." So they kept doing some trailers, and we never did like what they did. It was always kind of forced. So we said, "Hell with it, we'll do it ourselves." So we started it up ourselves, so we could do what we wanted to. But we've actually managed to sort of become self-contained. We were actually the first country act to start their own record label in '91. So we've kind of become, we have our own record company, our own publishing company, our own book publishing company, and our own reality show, and God knows what else.
We've tried to diversify.
Diversify. What could you share about a setback and how you were able to overcome it in your lives?
Well, yeah, we've gone through so many phases in this business, and it always gets to a point where record labels, you always have the hassle, and we've been screwed as bad as anybody.
That's why we started our own
business, and you're forced to do your own thing.
Yeah.
So there's always, you just have to keep trying. Somehow we have finagled through it, and survived and done quite well. How I don't even really know. We didn't have a grand plan. We just kind of played it by ear as we went. And record business is notorious for screwing artists, and they didn't leave us out. That's for sure.
We had a couple of labels one label in particular we stayed in court with about 8 or 10 years.
There used to be a thing called payola, and there was some soprano guys, involved in that too. we knew a lot of that world, so we have to be careful talking about that because
I think some of them are still living.
Right. Some are still alive.
Yeah. But most artists, when you start, you get out and talking to people, and most artists have experienced that to some degree. People, John Fogerty is a real famous example of that because his story is known. He wasn't even allowed to perform his own songs that he wrote, because of his management. So that does exist, and it's tough, but we've outlived most of them. Most of them are dead, I think now.
Yeah,
that's satisfaction.
Yeah.
No, but it seems like you had found really it's almost like self-sustainable solution to a lot of these challenges, and it was almost like, screw it, that's not a problem. We'll take care of the problem. Yeah. We're just going to handle it ourselves. I mean, that's just admirable. It really is. I've interviewed a lot of up-and-coming artists, and obviously social media has become like it's like the everyday gateway to the world, and they work it. But it's like, and I wonder what your take is on that. If you're an up-and-coming artist, and there's a difference between who you are authentically as a human being and what you need to put out there, what sells, and sort of finding that balance.
I think, I was saying earlier, when social media first came out, we were kind of laughing, what would two old cowboy hippies be doing on social media? We didn't think there was really a place for us on there, but it's really unbelievable.
Well, it has helped our survival.
Yeah, it has.
Because when we started our label, of course, there wasn't hardly any of that going on. But when it started, we were able to expand, and now we use it for our videos because, a couple of old dudes, they're not going to play on the major video shows, but we get so much exposure, from current music that we record, because we still do about an album every other year. And so it's been very helpful for us. And thank goodness we've got younger minds around us that know how to use it. And
that's the key is having some younger people who know how to push the buttons and work TikTok and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of green on TikTok. Dove into TikTok yet, but
do you both of you write the songs?
Yeah, we both write songs. We've actually been very fortunate with our songwriting. We've recorded most of the songs we wrote ourselves, and had most of the hits we've had are stuff we've penned.
David was recently inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, so that was that's a pretty small club. So we're really happy about that.
That's pretty awesome. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what is I'm just curious, the process of creating a song. What does that look like for you? Do you sort of carry it in a tune in your head for a while? How does that become the final it?
I think it's just it's kind of different for everybody. I've talked to, and we know obviously a lot of songwriters over the years, but I think it's just kind of the person's own process. Like sometimes they'll have a lyric hook, that they'll walk around with a while and come up with a tune for it. And sometimes they'll have a melody. Sometimes they'll have a chord progression. It's just kind of
like giving birth. Sometimes it's cesarean, and sometimes there it is.
Okay, so it's painful.
It can be, and sometimes it happens very fast. Like one of the biggest songs we had is a song I wrote called "If I Said You Had a Beautiful Body, Would You Hold It Against Me?" And I wrote that song in about 30 minutes.
Wow.
And it's one of our bigger songs.
It's still today. It was record of the year in England, and so you just never know. Other songs you struggle with for a whole life and never get it right.
what if you well, I mean, you don't just sing. I mean, but let's say if you had to choose an entirely different profession, what would you do?
I was going to be a veterinarian, but when started school, we got sidetracked, and we formed a band, and that pretty much did us in. We we followed. We just always followed music. We grew up singing in church.
Really?
Yeah, singing in church here in this old community, and it evolved from that to playing anywhere with our dad, because he played as well, and that's where we learned how to play. But that's we just kind of gradually taken it and played life by ear. And oddly enough, seems like every time you plan something and want to do something, like plans for me personally never have really worked out. It's that thing that fell out of the sky for you. So I tend to believe a lot in fate. At this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Like doors kept opening up for you.
Yeah.
Can you do you have a tune in your head now? If your favorite one that keeps popping up?
Yeah, what's that song title? If you don't leave
if you don't leave me alone, I'll find somebody that will.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you sing a little bit?
No, that's
a joke.
That's a joke. That's a joke lyric.
It's a long story.
I know.
I think for any songwriter, there's always a song or a melody or something swimming around in your head. It's like an earworm, it sort of won't go away, and you've always got something. That's why you write it down usually, because it's driving you crazy. So, but I mean, we're working on some new music now for our 50th anniversary album. We're putting some stuff together. We've got some tracks laid for that now. We're working on a new a film for the 50th and a new intro for our show for the 50th and all that good stuff.
And it's all pretty much in-house. Our studios.
Wow.
It's about 200-300 feet from where we're sitting. So, and our guitar players, our engineers, so we can come off the road here, and it's just like a little music mill we have here. And a lot of our stuff that we've done was produced and recorded right here.
So then you solved your pet peeve. You don't have to travel.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Wow, you found another solution. There you go.
Another solution.
That's great.
We got kind of tired of, going back and forth and recording in either Nashville or LA. I mean, both of them have great studios, but it got to the point where all the equipment had been shrunk down to the size of a computer. So you didn't really have to go anywhere. So
I know.
It's amazing. We can sit here and do this chat we're having. It's really great for us as independent label owners. We take advantage of. We always check that. We checked you out, and I said, "Oh, no, you look good." So we didn't know you were Czechoslovakia, and that's cool.
See, there you go. I mean, this makes it possible. But yeah, it's it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
But I feel like, we're all connected. I mean, I get to do this, a few times a week, and I've connected with people all over the world, different big thinkers and trailblazers, and it's what's amazing is how much we all have in common, regardless of what corner of the world we're in, what field we're in, and so it almost feel like it humanizes
Exactly
us, sort of, when you look outside of the titles. And I've had quite a few artists in the country music, and it seems like there are more and more people trying to get into that field. And what would be your advice to an up and coming artist?
That's a tough one.
Well, we usually tell them to go to law school.
Nice. First.
And it's such different times than when we came along.
Yeah.
But it's always been hard. You know, it's never been really easy. And now, like you said, there's so many people getting into it. As you go to Nashville now, you know, every waiter and at every restaurant's a singer songwriter, you know, and they're all trying to get in. So it's the social media. A great thing for us is it really helps broaden our demographic. You know, there will be someone younger that may know our song, you know, from way back, like Your Love Flow or Beautiful Body, but they really don't know anything about us. But this also helps you to reach a demographic that you wouldn't normally reach. You know, the same old interview.
And you find out about demographics, and like we didn't know at the time that was going on when Let Your Love Flow first came out and all that. We didn't know that the record was so big, like in India and stuff. There was a whole world that we were getting played in we didn't even know about.
Wow.
And
everyone should tour India just
once. But we had a guy in Australia, and I think it was Melbourne. We were playing a casino there, and he said, he came in and goes, "Great news." He goes, the show's sold out tonight. We go, "Oh, that's great, man." He goes, "But everyone's Indian." and
That's funny.
He said, "I didn't know you guys had," and sure enough, because there was a big Indian population. So we found out that Let Your Love Flow and Beautiful Body and a couple of those other songs had been what they call wedding songs in India. And they played them at all the weddings and stuff. And so everybody knew them. So we went there, and they sang the song so loud you couldn't hear the band. So
we had no idea.
We just didn't know, because you know, back then you wouldn't have. You know?
Yeah, no, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Music, to me, it doesn't have a color, it doesn't have any kind of affiliation. It just is, and it just brings people together. That's really awesome. Wow. I mean, I'll admit, I can't say that I'm a into a country music. I like all types of music, and that it either moves me or it doesn't. It doesn't matter what genre it is. And I heard some of your hits, and I'm like, wow, okay, I definitely want to get to know those guys. But it's because of social media and all these channels. So this is great.
Are you disappointed?
So what's next for you guys? What is it that you can reveal?
Well, a lot of the stuff we're working on right now at the moment has to do with our 50th, because you know, it's a pretty big milestone, and
Yeah.
we're sort of you know, we're going to do more or less a world tour. You know, we're talking about India and Dubai again, and we're doing Norway. Well, we're actually on the way to Switzerland next week, to Interlaken, to do a festival.
Oh, fun.
There's a festival in Interlaken they're celebrating their 25th year, and we've played it 17 times in 25 years.
Seriously, 17 times?
Yeah. And so we're going back to do it next week. And then Norway, and in September, we're doing 10 shows in Norway. And Dubai and India's on the books. Australia is wanting, and we haven't booked that one yet, but they've been talking about doing that again, Australia is always a great place to tour. So, you know, it's we'll probably try to do as much of that as we can for our 50th, and then release the new album. And we just did a gospel duet with the Isaacs, which are, you know, world-class gospel bluegrass country group. You know, they're
great harmonies,
unbelievable harmonies. We just did a gospel duet with them, and it's doing really great. Had 500,000 hits on that in the first month. And so, you know, we've been busy for old men.
Extremely. You're putting the younger generation to shame, and to that duet like butter. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. That's wow. I thought I traveled quite a bit, but this is travel on steroids. So Yeah, no, this is great. My sister lives in Switzerland. Do you guys ski?
Poorly.
Poorly?
We bobsledded in the Alps. We made that mistake one time.
We actually bobsledded down the Eiger.
No.
Yes, we did.
You must have had a good amount of edibles, though, right?
Almost killed myself.
Before and after, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Where does your sister live?
And it's actually outside of Zurich in is it Greifensee? So yeah, and it's a small, like a town village, beautiful lake.
Near Lake Zurich. Lake Zurich's really big lake. Yeah, we know. We go to Switzerland. We've toured almost every hamlet in Switzerland. We've been
Really?
going for years and years. Yeah, lots of friends there.
Great place.
Is there a country that you guys never visited where you would want to tour or perform?
We never toured in mainland China. That's a little harder to put together.
Not much of a music market there.
Yeah, but there aren't many places we missed. We haven't toured in Russia proper. We were actually asked about playing Vladimir Putin's birthday party, but we turned it down. And
good idea.
yeah. And so, but there's not many places we miss. We played a lot of them over the years. One year, which is about 2010 maybe, we did seven countries in 1 year.
In a year?
Yeah, and that was pretty tough. We were flying like Singapore to Helsinki, Finland, like we were taking flights like that, and it was just really crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah, no, that's wow. When you said China, actually, I lived in Beijing for about 4 years.
Cool.
When I was 8, my mom, she was stationed at Czechoslovakian embassy there, so I remember. Definitely has changed since then, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But but the travel, I think it's easier today. It seems, I think it used to be more restrictive to many people. But again, talking about social media, I think post-COVID, a lot of influencers started sharing their experience, and so more and more people are traveling, which is not necessarily great if you want to with the travel, because some of the places are just jam-packed, but it's just getting your foot outside of the front door. That's it.
Yeah. Nowadays, you're right too. A lot of the places like Venice, in Italy, they have to charge like admission like Disney World now because they have to restrict the amount of visitors that can go.
I just saw the Louvre just shut down yesterday.
Yeah.
People had bought tickets.
Yeah.
It's so crowded. There's so many tourists that the structure can't hold the tourists.
Oh, wow.
I just saw on the news. I said, "What?" Yeah, so I guess they're going to prepare the Louvre so we can tour it. Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we're just in Italy actually 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was just on the cusp. It was getting crowded. Also visited Vatican City, and that was, or even a Colosseum. Oh my God, it was a zoo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a place though, right?
Oh, it was just mind altering. And then Positano, and you guys know that it's like,
I love Italy. I love Pompeii. It's so cool. That's one of my favorite historical plays. I want to go back to Pompeii because they keep taking off layers of that volcano like thousands of years later, and still finding stuff. It's really cool.
That's really awesome.
And the food,
the food. Yes.
Not to mention the food. Yeah.
Not to mention the food. I know. You eat all you can, then you still manage to lose weight somehow. But it's it's amazing. And then you get back to the States, and you go to Manhattan, and coming back from Prague or Rome, and you go, what was I admiring about this place before?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, guys, this has been, I know it's a short and I'm really grateful to have had a chance to meet you and truly enriching experience. You really have quite the stories, and I know we just scratched the surface. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice to meet you.
Denisa. Nice meeting you and talking.
No, thank you. And, for our viewers and listeners, obviously you can check out all the links and how you can just follow David and Howard, the Bellamy Brothers, and their adventures in our show notes below. And make sure that you subscribe to Beyond the Bar podcast. Follow us on all social media channels. And until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.